Welcome to an all-new Lay It Omni. Allow me to lay it on you. What's up guys, welcome to day 1 of me uploading every day for the rest of my life. If you didn't know, yesterday I made a post that said, daily uploads start tomorrow. If I miss a day, I will quit YouTube forever on God.
Do you love me? Oh yeah, of course. I'm God. Oh God.
Now, yes, I was clearly capping, okay, guys, but also I want to actually try it now because a lot of y'all was like, nah, Omni can't do that. There were a few doubters in there, so now I kind of want to prove y'all wrong while also trying to achieve my daily upload goal, which I've been trying to do for a while. I feel like my fuel and like motivation to do things come from like my own like self-inner desire, but also like my wantingness to prove others wrong, so yeah. Anyway, more on that topic later towards the end of the video. Okay, today we're talking about a TikTok video that went viral a few days ago. I'm pretty late to the party. I had no idea this was a thing, but it's clearly right up my alleyway. It's basically a video of a parent talking about like properly raising your kids when it comes to playing online video games. You know, like nothing crazy, mainly just like when you watch it, it's common sense. But then it ended turning into like this race thing and also turning into this like pro beat your kids thing among like other spinoffs. Like it turned into a lot of stuff. But first, before we even talk about all of those things, let me just show you the clip. Okay, here's the video that was trending.
Hey, I need you to come take that trash out real quick.
I'm in the middle of an online game, but can I do it right after I'm
Absolutely not. Let's go. Hold up. Hold up. Parents, let me explain something real quick, just in case y'all didn't know. Online games, that's like if she was playing a real game and I made her say, Mr. Referee, can you pause the game real quick and let me have her come over here and take the trash out and let all of her teammates down? Here's the deal with online games. It's the same thing. You can't pause an online game, and she's got teammates that she's going to let down if you just have her come take out the trash right now when we know that trash can wait for 10, 15 minutes, however long this online game takes. But here's the deal, kids, if I let you do that, as soon as your online game is over, please come take the trash out. Deal? Deal. Deal? Do better.
Now I feel like a lot of us have been here, like, like you know, like I'm old enough that like when my parents asked me to get off the game, like I couldn't say like it was an online game because I wasn't really playing online games. It didn't exist too much. But when online games did exist, I'd be like,
yo, I can't pause the game, okay? You know, like I can't pause. I'm in the middle of an online game. Can I get back to you later?
That's becoming the new trend, and it's. Like I feel like a lot of us lied. A lot of us would be like, hey, I need to save the game before I can cut off the game, when technically I didn't even need to save the game, or I already just saved the game and I was just trying to extend the game a little bit further. But sometimes it's true, okay? Like sometimes you are playing an online game and you can't like look away immediately, and sometimes you do have to save the game. Like if you don't have an auto save feature, sometimes yeah, you do got to save it before you can cut it off. That's the rarity. But anyway, now as a black guy raised in a family where I got my ass beat for some of the stupidest reasons you can think of, this video and the discussion around it applies directly to me. The controversy is the fact that it appears that people who get beat by their parents or did get beat were basically suggesting that this kind of advice in this video is null and void, and almost glorifying the fact that any kind of civil or logical discussion could occur over the topic of playing an online video game versus taking out the trash. Like here, I'll read out just a few tweets just to show you what we're working with here. This is like the most normal and respectful thing ever, and yet the comments are just, my mama would beat my ass, and if this was my kid, I'd beat their ass too. Like, that's not a good thing, bro. Black parents everywhere, Bugs Bunny no. It's a damn video game, which can be restarted. You know that damn trash needed to be taken out. Followed by, y'all obviously never got a real ass whooping, and it shows. Crying laughing emoji, crying laughing emoji, crying laughing emoji. If you don't have kids and not black, stop talking to me. This person said, but why is he having his female child take the trash out when he is a whole entire ass man? Someone else said, y'all are giving the game way too much importance in these replies, and I don't like that. She doesn't have a responsibility to the game as she does her own chores. Switch the chore to homework, would you still let her play first? F out of here. This person followed up and said, exactly. These people talking about respect for their kids who don't pay any bills, lol. The game isn't important when I tell you to do something. Honor your parents. So yeah, that's a lot of stupidity to unpack, okay? And honestly, it has to do with just a bunch of people all thinking differently and all being raised differently, which is, that's fine. I feel like the biggest and like largest issue is that a lot of people don't know how to evolve and assume that just because they were were raised a certain way that it's optimal, and or it's correct. For example, the chick who thinks that a little girl shouldn't take out the trash literally has a garbage take, okay? It's 2020. We're all equals regardless of gender, okay? Assigning roles like guys should take out the trash and girls should cook dinner is like some weird 1950s narrative that we got rid of a long time ago. Karen, we're trying to abolish gender roles now, alright? Men can be stay-at-home parents now. Women can be breadwinners. Men can be feminine. Women can be masculine. Like whatever men can do, women can do, and vice versa. That's how we reach equality. But some people still think it's okay to assign roles for gender, and that's such a whack takedown in my opinion. Now, what I can understand more is like the things that resort to like hard labor. Like if I have two kids and one of them is just clearly stronger than the other, then I'll more than likely give them a specific task that allows them to handle it. It just happens that guys are built in a way where they're a bit stronger, so biologically speaking, it makes sense to assign duties based on physical attributes. Like even if this was like a video game, an RPG. But again, if my daughter can handle it, like taking out the groceries out the trunk, and it's not like she requires some superhuman strength to do so, then yeah, she can do the hard labor. Gender equality aside, the biggest issue that seems to be like running rampant in regard to this TikTok thing is how black parents would have handled the situation. And I'm black, so I'll tell you what's happening. I'll tell it like it is. It's true, okay? We as black people have always fallen into trends where we joke about getting our asses beat by our parents, okay? It's an actual tradition, and it's, I don't know, black people in general, we joke about trauma and things that should be taken more seriously. I think partially it's a coping mechanism. We tend to joke about things that have happened in our past that like for real probably requires a bit of minor therapy to realize that those were actual traumatic events in our past, and getting beat is one of them. Like a common theme is for black people to compare how they've gotten beaten, how bad they were, how ridiculous the reasons were, and then laugh about it like it's all fun and games because, quote unquote, we were raised right and look at us now. And when you think about it like that, like if you zoom out for a second, that's pretty OD. Here's an example, okay? Here's one of my examples. One of my worst beatings ever, okay? I will never forget it. I was a kid. We came back from a trip, right? And the front door was open. My stepdad insisted that I left the door open. I didn't recall leaving the door open or unlocked, but he's the adult, so apparently it was me. So that called for a beating. This dickhead made me go outside into our home in the backyard and find a stick, also known as a switch, so that he could use it to beat me. I used to laugh and joke about this when I was a teenager or a young adult, but now that I've kind of reflected, that was incredibly messed up, okay? Imagine having to choose your own punishment weapon as a 11-year-old. The thing was that you couldn't get a stick that would break easily because if it broke, you'd have to go back out there and get another and just resume or prolong your beating. But also, you couldn't get a freaking log or a super harsh weapon because then you'd be effectively beating your own ass. The end all be all about that situation and that process is that it was both physically and psychologically, it was basically child torture. It's torture. It's not a beating. Why would anyone get off on strategically tearing down your own child physically and mentally for a mistake? Oh, and by the way, here's the kicker. My uncle later came to the house and said that he had come over to borrow a DVD or something like that, and he probably left the door open while we were out. So I got my ass beat for no reason. And that was just the tip of the iceberg, okay? I've got so many stories of creative ways that I've been punished or beat for insanely wild reasons. And as a black person, we tend to share those like a badge of honor, like yeah, black parents, am I right, guys? Or we've been just normalizing this behavior. I think that's the problem with this TikTok and the responses. You'll see a bunch of people kind of normalize the concept of just abuse just because, you can, or asserting power just because you can. Another concept is silence or being silenced, like children not being able to express themselves because they are a child and the parent is an adult and therefore what they have to say is wrong. I used to get in trouble from what my parents call quote unquote talking back, like all the time, okay? Like if my parents said something that didn't make sense to me, I'd say, hey, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like it just doesn't. And I'd get in trouble for using logic. Even if my logic was false, and I've grown up to realize that it wasn't, but even if it was, I wasn't presented with reasons as to why my logic was wrong. I was just told, stop talking back, and that I'm the adult, therefore what I say is right and what you say is wrong. Which again is a terrible way to raise your kids in a society. Like imagine training your kid to be submissive to adults for the sake of someone being older to them, okay? That's actual doo-doo, and it's a perfect recipe for your kid to be taken advantage of or to be gullible or to not think for themselves. Anyway, yeah, I could go on and on, but yeah, there's also a misconception that these conversations or situations is just a black person thing, but in actuality, it's more so just a non-white person thing. Now, I'm not saying that if you're white that you never got beat or punished unnecessarily, okay? But from my experience, it's more so a lower income, like less educated, more traditional thing that's going on. I know for a fact that my fellow Asians and Hispanics and Middle Eastern brothers and sisters have probably dealt with the same things I've mentioned, if not worse. So yeah, let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk about the actual event that occurred, okay? A parent respecting their kid and politely accepting a request that is, can I finish what I'm doing here first before I do what it is you ask me? Honestly, it's plain and simple, okay? Like whether it's an online video game or not, it doesn't even matter, okay? If your kid is asking politely to finish what it is they're doing before taking out the trash, of course you say yes and grant them that kind of respect for the request. It literally all comes down to a matter of respect, okay? And treating your kid like a person who deserves it. Just because you're a parent doesn't mean your kid has to be some dog that like jumps at any notice at anything that you say or just do it for the sake of it. Now, if you're giving the kid the chance, the opportunity, and then later they don't take out the trash and that becomes a pattern, then yeah, okay? Then they lose their privilege, okay? Because that teaches kids about accountability. If you say you're going to do something and you don't, you have to be held accountable for it. It's not hard to create rules that works for everyone in this way. Like if the rule in your house is that chores need to be done before fun can happen, then yeah, that's fine. You know, I kind of call BS on that though, because I would do my chores and then like in the midst of me playing video games and or having fun, it would get dirty and then someone will be like, why are you playing games if you didn't do your chores? And I was like, Yerg, I did do my chores, but someone else made it dirty. You know, like this is a catch-22. Like I can't keep the chores clean all the time. Eventually it's got to get dirty and it's got to be clean. Otherwise it wouldn't be a chore. But yeah, that's something else. But in this situation, if the kid asked for some time and then after some time they did what you asked them and then they honor that, you know, like reward that accountability. Okay. Like positively reinforce your kid for doing what it is they said they're going to do and remove that privilege if they're taking advantage of the system. It's literally that easy. This topic is so interesting because there's so many layers to it. Like there's the debate of whether or not you should beat your kids. There's the debate of respect. You know, there's race, there's sex, there's gender roles. I mean, it literally hits everything. I know as a kid, I played video games all the damn time. Okay, I got really good grades and just tried to keep my chores clean in a house filled with like 10 plus people, but that was impossible. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that it comes down to is respect. Okay, and the truth is that most parents don't respect their kids, and that ain't right, bro. You know, everyone deserves respect. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode of Lay It On Me. You've just been laid. Moral of the story: stop wearing the fact that you were borderline tortured as a kid as a badge of honor. It's not anything to be proud of. It's not something that made you into a good person or a good human being or who you are. Like, you didn't have to be beat senselessly to be a good person. It just so happens that you were raised through fear. And fear is an incredibly effective and easy way to manipulate and control a person. If you came out mentally okay from your experience, hey, you know what? That's dope. But I guarantee you, there are people who were raised where violence is normalized and as a result beat their loved ones, whether it's their wife or their kids, or they take physical abuse from their loved ones thinking it's normal when it's not. Also, yeah, it can work the other way. Like if you got beat and you felt that pain, then maybe you never want to inflict it onto someone else. But again, I don't think it works that way the majority of the time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the subject in the comments below, okay? I feel like a lot of you who are watching this video will resonate with me, especially if your parents were psychos. Having psycho parents and being tricked into thinking their psycho ways were normal is actually insane. And if you avoided that kind of parenting, you probably have enough common sense to see that what this dad was doing is supporting a really healthy relationship with his daughter and nothing else. It's just good parenting. Anyway, do me a solid if you made it this far. I would really appreciate it if you guys leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Back to what I was saying earlier, my challenge for myself is to make a video every day. Okay, now don't worry, all right? I'm not gonna burn myself out, okay? I always talk about mental health here and that applies to myself as well, okay? I'm creating a challenge to see if I can do it because I've never done it before and I want to try. I really want to do it, all right? I was capping about quitting YouTube if I failed, okay? But I am serious that I really want to make it happen. Like sometimes I think, and this might be a little weird, you know? Like if you were in a life or death scenario and someone said, yo, if you don't make a video every day for the rest of your life, you die. Like, you know, then obviously you figure out a way to do it because you don't want to die, right? But that's not healthy. I mean, like, it would probably work, but you guys know what I'm trying to say, okay? That added pressure can really make something that was once really difficult to do easy as hell, as long as the repercussions were like strong enough. Now, for me, I'd much rather be motivated by like moving forward and growth rather than the consequences. But hey, you know what? Maybe that was a product of my environment growing up. You know, I did a lot of things just so I didn't have to suffer consequences. Like, I did a lot of things just so I didn't get beat. I was raised by fear. And I guess now I'm using it as a way to positively grow and challenge myself. I mean, maybe I'm using something that was negative in my past life to be more positive in my current life. But yeah, anyway, we'll see. I think I can do it. And if I fail, I fail. I'll quit YouTube. So you'll have to follow me on twitch.tv Inferno Omni instead. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Drink your water and have a good one.